if I put it in a vacuum bag, does it really make a difference in shipping? So when you fold it this way, because my heart is thumping, I want to rapidly get that out of there, fluff it back up. But it's a beautiful line, it's all batik. Welcome back. Today we're going to do something that I haven't done before. I'm going to figure out how to use a vacuum bag today. I've never done that before. I want you to see what it looks like. I'm going to bring you along for the journey for using a vacuum bag to package up the quilts. So I want to kind of do a comparison of how small can I get the quilt without putting it in a vacuum bag, and how small can I get it if I put it in a vacuum bag. Does it really make a difference in shipping? And, does it really make a difference in the size of the box that I would use for shipping? Because weight matters and size matters whenever your size of your box matters when you're shipping, but your weight's going to be the same, right? Like vacuuming it isn't going to change the weight of your quilt. So that is kind of a moot point. At least I don't think it should, because you're just pulling out air, and air weighs, nothing. Anyway, I haven't ever used a vacuum bag. I'm going to do a little comparison, and I want to do a little bit of research online to find the best way to package up a quilt. Like, am I supposed to roll it? Am I supposed to do, what do they call that kind of, it's a special kind of diagonal fold that people do on quilts. Is that what I should do to send it back to somebody? And then vacuum it? So that's what I'm doing. First, I'm going to clean up my table. I've been working on the Mars quilt. If you've been following along this week, been making some big blocks there, so I've got a mess in front of me. Clean that up. And normally I've got this station over here where the whiteboard is. That's set up to be my shipping station. But I'm going to do it here on the cutting station because I want you guys to be able to see better, and I can get a better view for the camera if I work right here. So that's what we're going to do. See what I mean? It's a bit unsightly. Let me fix this up first, and then I'm going to get the vacuum bags out. And those two quilts on the top there are the ones I need to fold properly and then suck the air out of. We're also going to take a look at the Mars quilt. I did a little bit of piecing together of some of the bigger blocks, and in doing that, I've kind of rearranged where they were going, just partly because I couldn't remember after I got them done exactly where I'd taken it off of the design wall. So my objective with the Mars quilt, the next objective, is to kind of quantify where my circle is. Get those stray threads off there. Where my circle is, so I can get like a perimeter that I need to work within. And then it will give me another sense of having a mile marker, like another sense of making progress because I've got a mile marker. Hope that makes sense. Do any of you think along those terms too? Whenever you're working on a big project, you gotta, there's a word I'm looking for. Institutionalize is the word that comes to mind, but that's not it. But you gotta insert your own milestones and the things that help you to feel like you're making progress. Get this all put together really quickly. Hopefully. We're having another pretty day here. It was beautiful yesterday. It's a little cooler today, which is actually kind of nice. It's just enough chill that there's like no threat of overheating, but it's pleasant to be out without a coat. And I still have on 2 sleeves, right? But I'm not having to wear a coat or anything like that. It's just really nice. I love it. That's one of the nice things about living here in North Alabama is we do have winter, but it's short-lived pretty much. We'll get some more cold days in March. We'll have some in April, and I've seen some through May before, but they're sporadic, and there's a lot of beautiful and warm days in there too. I have not gotten a good method yet of how I fold my fabrics. I just kind of wing it each time. So far, I'm getting something about the same size, so I guess I'm winging it okay. All right, I'm going to stop talking to you, get this done, and then we're going to work on the vacuum bags, and then we'll take a look at the Mars quilt. We'll keep this video kind of easy. I know the last two were kind of the type that you can't have on in the background. You know, you really needed to watch to follow along. And we don't always have time for that. Sometimes we just want something light and easy, and that's what today is going to be about. It was kind of hard to turn the camera back on. I was watching Catbird Quilts, her video about being at QuiltCon. Oh my gosh, she does such a good job. She isolates each of the quilts and talks about it, and it's just eye candy. I just love it. But I will enjoy it more later. I wanted to show you what I have bought. I bought, it's called High Bag Vacuum Storage Bags, Jumbo. 80% extra space. I may have gotten bags that are just too big. I don't know. I'm new at this. Let's see what it says. Yeah, jumbo. So it's 27 by 39. That's way too big for what I have. It holds one queen size bedding set and 2 pillows. So yeah, this is going to be too big for what I need. But I wonder if we can still experiment. Like, I need to get smaller ones because these individual quilts just are not this big. Let me get one out and we can look at it. Okay, it has a hand pump, but I was assuming that I would use my vacuum cleaner. I don't see myself enjoying doing a hand pump. So since I own this, like if I can make this work to shrink, I don't know. Can you use this on something that doesn't fill it up? I don't know. We're going to try. We'll just see. This is an experiment. Okay, I'm going to take this off the table. And we're going to get the bigger of the quilts over here, which is Jody's. Okay, so right now I have this. I'm sorry, I grabbed the wrong one. This one is Sherry's, but I can point to what I was talking about. See, when you fold it, it's folded in quarters, half and then half again. You're getting a crease here and you're getting a crease here. Now, it's not going to be in the box long enough to where it's going to matter, but the instinct is that everyone's going to fold it this way. So you want to make your folds for any long-term storage to not be on those corners. So I've seen it done, and I'll do that with the one that I'm preparing to put in this bag, and that is Jody's. I've seen it done to where you lay it out on a diagonal and you're folding it in from the edges. So you're not getting the same crease lines that you would get in this pattern. I don't know that it really makes a difference because you're still going to get crease lines. But then if you take that and you roll it, you know, does that make it smaller? So I'm going to actually hop on Google and see what Google says about this. Okay, so I did Google it, and I remember that I have done this before, that I had understood at one point why we fold it not as I was describing, like you don't fold it in halves, quarters or whatever. It's because of the grain of the fabric. Let's move this to the side for just a moment. We will retrieve that in just a minute. But it's about folding on the bias is all about, oh, I have a thread that I missed. I had to tuck that one in before I send it back, but we're going to go ahead and finish what we're talking about. If you fold it on the bias, this one's pretty much square, so it'll look different than one that's rectangular. Let me just do this. I'm going to start folding it, and then I'll flatten it out as I go. Take one corner up to the other so you're getting a bit of a triangle. It's not a perfect triangle, a perfect square. I forgot the dimensions on it. I've got it recorded, but I just don't have it in my head. So when you fold it this way, what you're getting is your fold is on the bias. And because your fibers are going like this, it's actually stronger, and it's going to be able to withstand the fold, the crease, whatever crease is made from that. Okay, so we've got it like this. Then we pull this part down to meet on this side. Now this is what we're working with. We fold this in, this corner, in to meet here. Do the same thing on this side. And then you can fold it in half, and you could actually fold it again this way. But I think on the larger quilts, that's what they do. But we're going to do this. And then we'll do this. Now that's the proper way. From what I have read and what I have watched, that's how we should do it. Except we could have done this, right? Now, for any of you who have suctioned the air out of the quilt, what is your philosophy on what that does to the crease? Because I would think that it would emphasize the crease, right? Like if I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to suck the air out of this, is it not going to like really emphasize the crease? Let's see what happens. I need to research that too. I think I'll go back over to Google and see what Google says about vacuum bags for quilts. The only reason I folded it in half again to make it this small is because the objective for shipping is to get it as small as possible. If I was storing it in my house, I probably wouldn't have made that last fold. So far, I'm not unhappy with the quality of the bag. We'll see how well it works. This is my very first experience. Okay, so I put a vacuum hose on that right there. Let's see what happens. Let's see if this fits on there. Okay, that's not working, but I think it is a user problem. It's just suctioning the back of this. I might need to put the fabric right underneath that to separate it. And I don't know that it's sealed up properly, so I'm going to address that. I have a seam roller, and I was looking for that, but I didn't find it. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time. It's not where I thought it should have been. Like I said, moving everything into this new studio, I just haven't got a good, not everything went right back to where it was when it was in the last studio, and just gonna take a while to work out the kinks. I'm gonna scoot the quilt down so it's underneath that valve. All right, let's see what this does. Oh my gosh. Okay, do y'all see what happened? That was magic. I mean, it scrunched that down. How is that okay for the fibers? If we're going to care about the quilt being folded on the bias so that we're protecting the fibers, then why is that okay? Because my heart is thumping. I want to rapidly get that out of there, fluff it back up. That's not going to go in that much smaller of a box. Like, I mean, it's smaller. Clearly, the air is sucked out of it. But I don't think I want this to be my default thing to do. I want to only do this if somebody wants this done. I mean, okay, let me take a quick measurement of it before I open up that valve. Where's my tape measure? Okay, there. That's about 12 inches. Going from halfway, like 12 and a half inches. To like 14, 12 and a half by 14. All right, let's let it fluff back up. So it did shrink it down a good bit. You saw how much that fluffed it up. Okay, because let's look at going from half here, like 15 and a half, and that's 14. So it did shrink it by inches, but I also think that it didn't shrink it so much that you couldn't put it in a box and make it tightly inside of a box without sucking all that air out. I just worry about what that's doing to the fibers. So let me go look that up on Google and we'll answer that together. All right, see that little piece of blue tape? That is the center mark of from the top to the bottom of our civilization, which I'm calling Happy Valley after the movie. It's a multi-season movie, TV show called For All Mankind. It was really good. I've rearranged all my blocks from where they were, so I don't have my furthest point. I had 29 in my head. It just popped into my head whenever I came to get the tape measure, but I don't think that's what it was. I think it was higher than that. Let me see. Let's look at, yeah, 29 inches. Interesting. It's amazing how numbers were just sticking in my head. 29 inches from here to here and from there to there. All right, that's good to know. Oh, before we go any further, regarding the quilts and vacuuming them, I'm going to try one more experiment to see if I can accomplish the same thing with a garbage bag. And then I am also going to go to the post office and get their priority mail boxes. And I'm going to talk to the postal attendant there. She was really helpful when I got my post office box, and going to see what her thoughts are on the best way to ship these and to make sure that the priority boxes is really the best. It sounds like it would be because it's a flat rate. You know what it is. It includes tracking. Your weight doesn't really matter. You could put rocks in there and it's all fine. We're not doing rocks, but I think that would be the simplest thing to do. So I'm going to approach it that way. So I may go to the post office today. I may go tomorrow. I'm not sure. But before this video ends, we will experiment with using a garbage bag. I watched a video with, I can't think of her name right now. I'll put it on screen. I watched a video where a quilter was using just a garbage trash can liner. Now, it wasn't a garbage bag. It was just a big, large, clear liners, and that may be different than a garbage bag, but I don't know that it would be any different, so I'm going to give it a go. Anyway, let's worry about this first. Okay, I'm going to just kind of take this far point right there down an estimate and see what that is. That takes us to 40 inches. Okay, 40 inches. And then 40 inches up here is at the top of my board, so that's good to know. Okay, and that would be 40 inches all the way around. That's 40 inches. So I got a lot of extra over there that I do not need. So I can think about rearranging those pieces. That's good to know. Good to know. Okay, that was a good experiment. I kind of feel like I need to take everything off and mark my circle with blue tape. And then I can work my pieces in around that. That's a good approach, I think. Okay, I just did a big experiment without the camera rolling. Rats, we're going to have to do it again because I want you to see it. So let's do this. Let's get this about that size. I want to get it as small as I can get it. And then we're going to put it inside the bag. The ones that Mary, I believe is the lady's name on that YouTube channel, the ones that she uses, there's a hole right there, so I got to avoid that, are can liners, whereas this is really considered a trash bag. So it has seams, so I feel like that puts it at a higher risk of busting. But the trash liners, I think, are seamless, aren't they? But regardless, I mean, I can buy some of those a lot cheaper than I can buy the expensive vacuum bags. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I'm creating a hole to put the nozzle in, and the nozzle is not going to suction up any of the plastic. And I want to try to keep it a little bit of a distance away from the quilt so it's got some room to work. That's it. Oops. There. It's putting an awful drag on my hand. Got it pinched up here underneath my arm, so I'm helping to support it. Okay. Okay. That's how it would work. What she does is she puts it inside of a box and forms it to that box a good bit, but it's always sticking up a good bit above the box. And then she does this technique, wraps it up good and tight so no air can get in there, tapes the heck out of it, and closes that box up and tapes the heck out of that box. And I think that's brilliant. I'm going to talk to the Postal Service attendant, though, and get her opinion to make sure that the USPS priority mail boxes is the best way to go. But look at that. I don't have to buy those expensive bags. I'm accomplishing the same thing here. And of course, one of the benefits of having your quilt secured inside something that is water resistant is if your package were to be left out on your porch or some other reason gets left out in the weather and or there's a leak inside the shipping truck or something. This protects it. All right, so you would just keep that nice and secure, tape it, tape it, tape it. So I want to go to the post office and I want to get some of those boxes, and what I want to start with is the smallest box and see if I can't form this quilt to that smallest box. But I think even the medium-sized boxes, which is probably what I might have to use, is like $19. I think that's really not that out of the question to ship back. You know, it would be $40. Well, probably less than 40 to ship it to me, and less than 20 to ship it to me, and but then the 19 something to ship it back to you. And that includes tracking, which is nice. So I need to talk to the attendant and find out if she thinks that I could do better by putting it in my own cardboard boxes. Because I noticed that Tammy Ernest, she has cardboard boxes. but they still could be some kind of standard shipping rate on the boxes that she had. I just saw it in her tour. She showed it, and I don't think they were white, which the priority mail ones are. Maybe she's using UPS. So if any of you have any opinions on that, please let me know. So I'm going to let this fill back up with air because I need to take it out, and I need to find that one thread that I told you I had found and hide it. And when I say hide it, I'm putting it inside the sandwich. So you've got your backing here, your backing, you got your batting, and then you've got your top. So I'm going to take the thread from here and put it inside the batting so it doesn't come out the back or the top. That's what I'm doing. Got to re-find it. But this was a good experiment. And this is a cheap bag too. This is the cheapest of the great value bags. You know, it won't hold any weight at all. I accidentally bought these, but it is nice to know that it is fine for doing this, right? This is the kind of bag I normally get that's kind of flexy, and why don't we just see if it works? I just wonder if it would, because there's obviously something inside there that makes it stretchy. Maybe that might make it kind of porousy. I mean, it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be watertight. Surely that's not going to matter. It's here. Why don't we just go ahead and experiment? Who likes to have their garbage spill out because their garbage bag was insufficient, right? So I like to have this better garbage bag. Stick that in so that when the air starts sucking, it's not going to suck in any of the plastic. Get a good grip around it. Here we go. Yeah, that works just fine. And even if this were to have some kind of weaker penetration for air, once it's inside the box, it's not going to be able to expand or anything, right? That was a good experiment. So I have Mark here again working on the roof, so I can't get out of my driveway anyway. So whenever he leaves, if there's still time, I'll go to the post office. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. But I'm going to get both these quilts back to their owners, Jody and Sherry. Watch that fluff up. Magic. No quilt was harmed in the making of this video, I promise. Does make me nervous though. Does make me nervous, but I just have to accept it. Like, I was really nervous too the very first time I saw somebody use glue on a quilt, and now it's becoming really commonplace to use it for basting, and people use it for their applique. I get it. I am just nervous about things, and I probably shouldn't be. I'm not going to be doing any multi-$100 quilting projects, and if I do, then I'll talk to that person about not using the vacuum pack approach. I think I'll put it on the website too, to give people the option, like, hey, I'm going to use a vacuum unless you tell me not to. I think that's probably the best approach, but I want your opinions. Give me your opinions in the comments. There's that. Nope, that's a loose one. Do you remember? We did see a thread when we first laid this open. Maybe it's on the back side. It was on the green side. There it is, right there. I'll get that taken care of. I love it. I think it's a beautiful quilt, beautiful fabrics, and it's just another good example that whenever you just take a simple piecing, these are just rectangles, right? This is a rectangle, that's a rectangle, that's a rectangle. You get different sizes. Technically, you might consider this a sashing, but these two pieces equal this, and you just alternate that. So you got a full size and two, full size. What do we have here? sashing, and 2. So full, 2, full, full, 2. Here we have half, full, full, 2. So she's alternated things. But it's a beautiful line. It's all batiks. It's just gorgeous, very natural. And we used this really pretty stitching for, what was it called? Maple leaves and acorns, I think it was. I'll put it on screen. Just really pleased with it. It's a beautiful quilt. I don't know what she's going to do with it, if it's a gift or if it's for herself, but it's lovely, and I cannot wait to get it back in her hands. That's it for today. I'm going to take care of this little thread, and I'm going to mark up my circle on my design wall, and I'll videotape that, but we'll talk about that in the next video. Y'all have a good day. It's good to see you.